So Nick, just before we get into it, what's your favorite TikTok that you've seen? What's a standout Instagram reel or TikTok that you like?
I liked your TikTok with the American service model.
The American service model,
That's
right? I like that. So let's have a look at a few of the comments in there. So the American service model, for people that don't know what the American service model is, that is, we go to the house and we add as much value as we can to the customer. So we win and the customer wins. So everyone wins. It's a win-win situation, right, Nick?
Yeah, that's right. That model, you're actually expected to make money from your business.
Opposed to when you're dictated by builders and things like that, right?
Yeah, that's right. You can't be letting sort of people set your prices because they don't know what your business, what's needed in your business to run. So they don't know your numbers basically.
100%. And some of the comments on that TikTok, someone goes, "I'm confused about the American service model. They don't know, or sales into a job, or lol sales into becoming an electrician," right? Like, I don't think people actually understand how important are sales when you're a Sparky. What do you reckon?
You need to know how to talk to people. You need to obviously form those relationships with people before they're going to buy with you.
Yeah.
If you're just walking into a job and presenting a price, the chances are you're going to get rejected every time.
Yeah.
You need to build that rapport.
Yeah.
There has to be a sales process behind.
Definitely. And that's why, 100%. And I think all the TikTok people that comment on these videos like, "Oh, what's the American service model? That's sales. We're electricians. We're not salesmen." And that sort of mentality, I think that's all shifting now, thanks to obviously Sparky Sales Season, where we're throwing a spanner in the works. But without further ado, we'll just get into it. Yeah. So the American service model, that's what we trade. And that video, we had a guy that goes, "Oh, but you can't sell," and people are uncomfortable with the word sales, but we're here to change that. So without further ado, we've got today a fellow member of Sparky Sales Systems. We've got Nick from Wide In Electrical. Nick, who are you and what do you do?
Well, residential based electrician.
Whereabouts?
We're based in the Hills District.
In Sydney?
Yep. Hills and Hawkesbury at the moment. Specialise in we're doing residential construction, solar, level 2, very diverse.
Yeah.
So been in the industry about 18 years. So I've learned a lot.
How many years, sorry?
18.
18 years. Yeah. Wow. 18 years as a Sparky and still loving it or over it?
Look, you have your ups and downs. But yeah, I am still enjoying it.
Yeah.
I enjoy sort of being on the tools sort of more than sitting in the office. I've experienced both sides of that.
Yeah.
At one point we had a fair few boys and I wasn't really doing a whole lot.
Yeah.
I just found it's too boring. I didn't like sort of sitting there for extended amounts of time. So
I love that.
We've cut back to a bit smaller team and I am doing more on the tools.
Yeah.
I like sort of getting out and about and it's just what I like doing, so I do it.
It's so funny. I love that you said that actually, because for me, like, everyone knows that I'm better on the sort of business side, and that's what I like, opposed to be on the tools. But you're right, because as you're an electrician, you're so used to doing things on the day-to-day, like, roughing in, running wires, going underneath the subfloor, in the roof space, whatever it might be, right? And then when you get to that stage where you can get off the tools and you can make that jump and you have your team doing it for you, you're sitting in the office and you're like, what am I doing? Like, you're like a lion in a cage. Like, you want to go out and you don't feel like is that what you felt? You felt like you weren't really achieving anything in the office?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I'm sitting in an office. I've done all this training as an electrician.
Yeah.
You're the most sort of skilled worker. And then for me, I found like I was reducing myself to an administration staff. So all my skills just gone out the window and I'm just sitting there, answering phone calls and placing bookings. I just thought that was sort of a bit beneath my position.
Oh, without a doubt.
And I found out, financially it was just better for me to go out on site.
Yeah.
And just do what I like doing, work on the tools, and that's just worked best for me. But everyone's different.
Everyone is different, and that's what I like. And I like what you mentioned there as well. So when you do get off the tools, I'm very big on you're not doing sort of your admin roles, because you got to pay yourself to freedom. So you pay an admin person to do that. And then if you're in the management part as well, and the management part is, again, because if the boys are all doing their jobs and everything's running smoothly, you're gonna feel like, well, what am I doing? Like it's so vanilla. Your business actually becomes so vanilla, and your business becomes like, what is it to do? Like, go surfing, go to Bondi, go to, you know what I mean?
There's only so much surfing you can do though. That's the thing. You're gonna get bored eventually.
You're gonna get bored eventually. I like that, and I call you the ultimate technician, right? So you're the opposite to me, right? Because so in my business, my electrical business, we just focus on residential maintenance and service maintenance. So both B2B and B2C in just general electrical. You, on the other hand, you do electrical, you do solar, you do level 2, you do security, you do HVAC. Have I missed anything?
Excavation.
Yeah. You're the ultimate technician because you've been in the game for 18 years. You know all aspects, essentially, or most aspects of even programming and stuff like that. You get into all that stuff. I don't have the patience to program anything. And I'd call you the ultimate technician because a lot of electricians actually use you, right, to then do other jobs. Because if it's like a stitch up switchboard or a big meter panel or something like for a block of units, a lot of the time, you'll quote it on their behalf and they'll put their margin on top. Is that right?
Yeah, no, that's fairly common. It's fairly common. If there's something that they don't, they're not confident in, usually they just outsource to someone like us.
Yeah. You love a stitch up.
Yeah, it's just, I guess, it's not the stitch up part. It's just the creative thinking behind it to overcome the situation that they're in.
Yeah.
That's sort of what I like about it.
What sort of jobs are they? Are they like meter panel? What are they like?
Yeah, a lot of meter panel upgrades.
Bit monster ones, eh?
Yeah, big upgrades for businesses that can't afford to be offline for too long.
Like golf club. I think you've mentioned in the past, like golf courses, hospitality venues.
Yeah, hospitality. Yeah,
maybe hotels, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, golf course. That's another one. Yeah, they don't want to risk. Not being able to turn that job over because there's obviously
they rely on the power on. They rely on the power on to run business.
Their businesses, that's right.
Nice. And what made you become the ultimate? Like, what made you sort of, get your solar ticket, your HVAC ticket, your security? Like, what made you get all these other? Like, was it a business decision? Was that because you love the technology behind all of these other services? Like, what made you learn all these other industries underneath the electrical banner?
Diversity.
Yeah,
that's one word for it. When electrical's slow, you've got work in solar. When solar's down, then you've got work in something else.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just about diversifying. Electrical's a competitive game.
It is.
So I diversified fairly on and just sort of skilled up.
So it was more of like a business decision for you to diversify so that you can offer your customers other services. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And they do work hand in hand.
Yeah.
Someone that might not want electrical might want solar. So you pick up jobs like that. Someone that doesn't want solar might need a level 2. So it's just more doors open, I guess.
And level 2, for those that don't know, is like linesman. So people because other states, other areas don't have linesmen. So it's like linesman works on power lines, meters. Is that how you would explain it?
Yeah, that's right. Bringing services in from the street.
Perfect.
Basically.
Yeah. License to bring services in from the street to the premises of, if it's a commercial premises or a residential premises or industrial, whatever it might be. Level 2 is certified to do it. And like, you've been in business for 18 years. You're very well trained. You've got, like I said, again, across all the electrical umbrella, and you've done a lot of business coaching prior to coming to us. And, what made you sort of reach out to outside help instead of doing it yourself?
Well, you're leveraging someone else's experience. That's why I reached out. So, you can try and do everything yourself, waste a lot of time, trying to figure everything out. Yeah, at the end of the day, just paying someone who you can trust, I guess, just to push you that step further without having to, to try and do everything yourself. It's about saving time, really.
Yeah.
And it helps your confidence a lot knowing that someone you're dealing with has done it before. So that's sort of why we looked into coaching.
Awesome. Yeah, because we do practice what we preach. That whole upwards of 2.5K per day per truck. How to run that turnkey operation. That's exactly what we're very big on. And I love the word that you said two things there, which I really liked. First one was it saves you time. Second one is leverage. Leverage is a big one. And we'll touch on more about those two hot topics, because that's what mentorship and coaching, that's what it's designed to do. It's meant to save you time, money, and you use it as leverage for your business. So then it can catapult you, grow faster and quicker, bigger, stronger, faster, quicker, right? Like, why? It's a no-brainer. Now, in terms of leverage as well, I want to also talk about you're been 18 years in the industry in business, and you use your business, and we've spoken off camera about this before. You're big on property investment as well. So like, like in real estate. So like, is it important for electrical business owners to think about their future personal wealth, family wealth, long term? Is that an important thing to do?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Why is that?
Well, look, it's all good to run a business. If you're doing it right, you can obviously make yourself,
you can
good
say
income, higher
it's a
income.
safe space. Yeah, higher income,
right?
Good.
Putting it into banks and all that. For me, it just, you're not getting anything from it. The money is basically it depreciates.
Yeah.
Hiding it in your pillowcase and doing all that cashies and all that sort of stuff. At the end of the day, it's a depreciating asset.
I want to hold you on that. So that's a big thing you said. So guys, hiding cash underneath the pillowcase or underneath the mattress these days, those days are no longer. That money, you can't use it to leverage your personal wealth. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So
back in the day, different story. And I agree, like 30 years ago, 40 years ago, you could do things for a case of beer. You could be, oh no, you're me mate. Like, that's fine. I'll do it on the house. We'll take the kids out on the boat. But these days it's too expensive. Our dollar is depreciating at rapid speeds, right? So as a hedge against the depreciation dollar, and also, of course, a hedge against inflation, what do you do?
Well, you invest that money into a high performing asset.
Yeah.
Look, I like property because I've worked with property through my whole career, basically, with residential.
Yep.
That's what I chose. I mean, it's not for everyone, but there is other
asset classes
out there. But yeah, we just decided to choose property. That's just what we were comfortable with.
Nice. And I'm going to ask you a big question, and this big question now is one that I get all the time, and I think everyone's going to be waiting for it. Ready? Are you ready for it, Nick?
I'm ready to go. Go for it.
All right. What comes first? Is it property or the business?
Well, yeah, okay. I'll think about it. So,
knee-jerk reaction. What is it?
Yeah, look, at the moment for me, it's property.
Yeah.
But obviously, when I started, it was the business.
Oh, so what comes first then? So someone let me rephrase that, right?
Yeah.
So someone that's just done their apprenticeship and considering going into business, or they've saved up enough for potentially a deposit, and they're looking to go either property or business. Which way is the right way? Which way would you recommend?
Okay, I'm gonna say it depends on the person's risk tolerance.
That was the answer I was looking for. That was it. It is situational. Yep.
The business, I think that's a major risk.
Mm-hmm.
The property, you're playing it safe.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you can make more money through the business, but it has to be done right. If you're not doing it right, if you don't know what you're doing, you're just going to lose a heap of money and you're going to go backwards.
Love it.
I mean, with property, there is still obviously risk involved, but if you buy a good property in a good location, you're going to make money off it. You're going to get, a passive income from it. You'll cover all your expenses.
Cash flow. Yeah,
that's right. And even if you're subcontracting or doing something like that, you'll still cover the expenses. So you could even subcontract, if you're just starting a few days, just to get you something and then sort of build your business.
Definitely. Now, in terms of, and that's why I really like that answer, because I get asked that all the time. What comes first, business or property? And being from a European background, you as well. What national are you?
Maltese background.
Maltese background. Yeah. So for some reason, a lot of the Europeans are very big on property. And I'm not sure about you, but there was this big pressure for myself as growing up. If I didn't have one, I was a povo. You know what I mean? Or a brokey, okay. Right? It was like you had to. And if you didn't have one, you're a failure. Like that was how I was raised, right? It was a big thing. And there was this pressure. Even when I worked at McDonald's from 14, it was you're working at McDonald's and you're saving for a property, right? And I was like 14, 15 years old and I was at McDonald's and, I was making the burgers, running front of house, back of house, whatever. And I was just thinking, this is to buy a property. You know what I mean? This is what it was, right? And then, when I was 18, I had an uncle that actually advised me to put some money into shares from saving up. Like I was a saver anyway when I was even working at McDonald's. So I put all my money into shares and it was about 15, 16 grand when I was 18 years old. 18 years old, I put about 15, 16 grand that I saved from McDonald's while going to high school into shares. By the time I was 21, it was about $21,000 or $22,000 around there. And I sold all my shares despite my accountant's advice to start a business.
Yeah.
And despite his advice, he goes, you should keep it in there, blah, blah, blah. And I go, no, this money is going to go to my first van. And maybe I went a bit too left field, but to cut it short, the reason why I say it's situational is if you are looking to actually start a business and grow a business and your risk tolerance is saying, I want to make money, right? To buy a property, you need to increase your serviceability. To increase your serviceability, you need to increase your income. To increase your income, you got to grow your business, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Make more, or increase your profitability at least in your business.
Yep, that's right.
I did business first, despite my parents' advice, despite my accountant's advice, and people at the family barbecue. So I started the business first. Now, if you ask my parents back then, what do you do first? Do you buy a property or do you start a business? What do you reckon they would tell you? They'll say real estate.
Yeah, that's right.
They'll say real estate. Don't go stay. They said their advice was stay small, do your jobs, service your local community, service your friends and family, and just buy your property. And then that's how you grow. If you ask him now, after seeing what it sounds really arrogant, seeing what sort of I created, they'll tell you now it is situational. Depends on the person. If you're a person that doesn't have a big risk tolerance, and so I'm not blabbering on, do you think someone that doesn't have a big risk tolerance should be in business?
Look, it is a trait that you need to have as a business owner. There's lots of big decisions you have to make. It all involves risk. So you're not willing to take risks, it's probably, not a good idea to run a business. This is just having a business is a risk in itself.
So what should they do instead? If they don't have that risk tolerance, like if it doesn't make sense for you to invest in buying your own truck, investing in staff, investing in training, then those traits there, you should not be in business.
Well, it's not just that. It's they're not even your biggest expenses. I think your marketing and advertising is your...
If you go down that route, like that's one way. Look, we've got members that don't spend much dollars on marketing at all, if any. And they're doing we've got members doing between 15 and 25K a week with zero marketing expense. But me, of course, I spend money on marketing. I've got that risk tolerance though.
Yeah, right? That's right.
I've got that risk tolerance.
Even we're spending a bit on it now. Thanks to some help from you.
Yeah.
The mentoring. So again, it's leverage. So we know that we're not wasting our money on dud ads.
Dud ads and dud marketing. So it's all about ROI. And if you don't have that ROI, I think that's probably the crux of it, right? Like if you don't have that ROI mindset, return on investment, like if I spend $1,000 here and get $10,000 back, I think this is what it is. If your mindset is you're so hung up on that $1,000 and you're so defensive on that $1,000 that it doesn't make sense to invest it towards your business, what do you reckon? Do you reckon that person there that's oh, this is my $1,000, and they're not looking at that $10,000 return, do you reckon that person should be in business?
Yeah, look, probably not.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to sort of see past that, I guess. Yeah, as I said, business, it is a risk, but at the end of the day, if it's a calculated risk that's going to make you more money and put you ahead. So,
and it'll allow you to leverage and buy more properties, right? As you increase your income.
That's right. So obviously, as you're making more money, you know, you need to put it somewhere.
Yep.
Property is, you know, just one way or one place that you can put it in.
Yeah.
And you know, after 10, 13 years, you know, if you've done it right, that place should have paid for itself.
Yep.
And you've got yourself a property and a passive income. You can then sell it or just keep the income, the passive income you get.
And another big question. So we've said about what comes first, either property or business, and we've said it is situational. If you are serious about business must come first, right? Because the property can even work as an anchor against you, right? It can anchor you down and delay, because your risk tolerance in business will decrease because you've got to make those repayments, right?
Yeah, that's right. You'll obviously have to make the repayments to the bank. You can't get away from that. But look, if you've gotten something, you know, a decent property with high yield, you're not going to struggle as much. So it won't put as much pressure on you financially, you know, just in case your business doesn't perform. So, like we've structured our portfolio so everything is high yield.
Yep.
If I decide to quit my job tomorrow, it's not going to have any effect on me.
Oh, look at that.
I'll just go work for someone else.
Yep.
And I don't have to worry about anything.
There's a very slim chance of that happening because you've been going 18 years strong. So.
Of course, but I'm just saying if something happened.
I like that though, right? Being very conservative. Like what if it goes wrong? Because a lot of people have got that, because the entrepreneurs out there, they're very like, they're looking too much on the upside. Like, oh my God, I can do this and that and build this, and thinking like it's all going to be perfect always. But then on the flip side, you got to be conservative and go, well, what happens if it doesn't? I really like that. And another big question for you is, what comes first in real estate? Principal place of residence or an investment property?
Financially, the investment property comes first.
Yeah. So when Grant Cardone says, we've all heard Grant Cardone say, you know, buying a house is stupid. You got to rent vest and all of that sort of thing. Like, do you agree with what he says there?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's 100% right. Rent vesting, is definitely the way to go. Because obviously, you buy your principal place of residence, you're having to make repayments. Obviously, to the bank, you're in debt. Basically, that debt it's considered a bad debt because you don't have any rental income to service that debt. So
it's a liability.
It is a liability, and then you've got maintenance on top of that, and everything that goes with owning a house.
And it's not a tax deductible debt; it's a liability.
It's a liability.
Or Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, right?
But look, a lot of people buy their principal, you know, place of residence first. We did as well, but we sort of structured it in a way where it was a decent sized property. We were renting part of that property. Yep. So that rent was actually recovering our repayments, and we were also living there basically for free. So a bit of creative thinking, and we got it to run that way.
Trump does that as well, but on a bigger scale, right? Trump will build a hotel and he will rent out all the rooms and then keep one for himself. You know what I mean? Like that's
right.
That's what all the big players do it. Yeah.
But a lot of people, you know, it's usually your first place is always an emotional decision. So it might not be the best decision for you financially, but you know, people see something they like and they buy it.
And actually, on a quick note, Arnold Schwarzenegger did the same thing as well. I think it was around Santa Monica, or Brentwood, or around. Anyway, around, if you know LA, Santa Monica, it was around there. I think Brentwood, or he bought. I can't remember whereabouts in that sort of district, but he bought his first. I think it was like a block of 4 apartments or something like that. Rented the 3, lived in the 1. So this is like, you know what I mean? Like, and you've done that as well. Like, essentially bought a property, rented a component of it out. Same sort of thing. Now, I also think, to throw a spanner in the works, I do think it's situational as well, because I think people can be led to buy the wrong investments, and I think it's one of those things. It can throw you backwards, not to confuse you, but it would make sense to increase your borrowing capacity. Rent vesting just makes sense logically, right? And as a numbers standpoint, would you agree?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
it makes sense. And especially if you're in Sydney, like let's even look worldwide. Like if you were born and raised in New York, there's a good chance you probably would be renting in New York if you're starting out. You know what I mean? In New York, Manhattan's it's not cheap, right?
No, the population's so high. You've got so much competition.
You've got the biggest players there. It's New York, right?
Like, yeah, that's right. It's a very saturated sort of place to live. Yep. Obviously, when that happens, there's less opportunity there. So
you're playing with killers. That's what I want to say. Yeah, you're playing with killers.
They start moving away then from the city.
Yeah.
To find sort of more opportunity. Yeah, look, I don't think, Sydney is expensive. But look, there's a lot of other places in Australia that you can live in. Sydney's only like one place.
That's exactly what I wanted to say, right? That's exactly what I wanted to come back to. So you've mentioned as well, like that New York example. Well, you're probably not going to buy New York. You'll probably buy outside of New York City and then, live there, right? You'd rent vest. Same in Sydney, right? Which, not saying, it is, or this is not financial advice, but, I also purchased a principal place of residence before I bought investments. That's what I'm very, it's situational as well. Like sometimes it just makes sense to buy instead of rent in that area.
Sometimes it's not just your decision.
Yeah.
So what about your missus? So
yeah,
you got to take them into consideration as well. They got to say, so very much. Yeah, it does become an emotional decision. So it was both you sort of have to like it, and you both have to agree on it.
Definitely. And if you're in Sydney or Melbourne in these sort of saturated, particularly Sydney's a lot dearer than Melbourne. Maybe when people feel if someone's listening in, they feel discouraged about entering the Sydney market, what do you reckon they should start considering to do?
Start looking elsewhere.
Yeah.
Start looking outside of Sydney for investment. Yeah, start looking in other states. As I said, Sydney's only one place. And there's a lot of places in Australia that are performing much better.
Yeah. And that's a numbers thing. That's a data thing. And I think as you've done, Sparky sales systems program to then help with your profitability in your business and that sort of aspects, you've also done real estate programs as well. So
that's right. Yeah.
Big thing with yourself is you're not listening to the pub advice. You're not listening to the family barbecue advice. You're actually listening to professionals that have done what you're trying to do. Is that right?
Yeah, that's definitely right. You don't take advice from people at the pub. Sort of, you make your decisions based on data and facts. Your mum and dad sort of, they want to help you in that. They're not educated in that space. So, you can't know everything.
Forever learning. And
that's right.
You've got this big, guys doing, say, under $1 million worth of revenue. They're so convinced that they're smashing it and they've got this false perception of how well they're actually doing until it's just like, well, to tell you the truth, if you're not hitting these numbers that we speak about, the upwards of 2.5K, upwards of 40K, a lot of people give me this answer, well, it takes time, I'll eventually do it. But I actually disagree with that. I believe building a business doesn't take time. It takes two things, know-how and capital, right? And it only takes time if you're trying to raise that capital, right? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's right. No, you're 100% right. Know-how and capital. You need the capital to pay for all your expenses.
Yep. And I'll agree. It'll take time to get the capital, yes.
That's right.
But the know-how is instant. Like, there's nothing stopping people right now from making upwards of 40K minimum per truck per month. You know what I mean?
You invest your time into learning, first, with mentors. So you're not making those stupid decisions. You're not
paying the dumb tax, I call it.
Sending yourself backwards, basically.
Yeah.
Someone else has already made their mistakes, so learn from their mistakes.
Leverage.
Leverage and move forwards. That's the way to do it.
And capitalize. Yeah, I like that. So what we've kind of said is, you got to, and correct me if I'm wrong. So you've been in the electrical game for 18 years. You do all aspects of electrical. You've built your business. You've had the off the tools experience. you've had the on the tools experience, you prefer the on the tools experience, like many Sparkies, and you're doing very well in your electrical business, and you've done the construction thing. You're doing more service work now. What sort of like prompted you to sort of make that change into service work opposed to construction?
So yeah, obviously service work, you got bigger margins in it.
Yep.
Your cash flow is just way better.
Yep.
You collect your money on the spot. You quote on the spot. You're not taking work home with you.
Yep.
All that. It's just I'm liking it. It's just more of a streamlined process. You're dealing direct with the client as well. So very easy just to, when you got one person to deal with, you're not dealing through 3 other people, like a builder or strata or something like that.
Yes.
It's just I'm finding it, more streamlined process.
Easier to get money, easier, better on the cash flow, better for your
better overall, really. That's it. That's the only way to put it. Obviously you do have your marketing expenses.
Yeah.
Your service type jobs, they're very marketing and advertising sort of hungry, so you do have to put money into it.
Yeah, spend money, make money, right?
That's right. Without doing that sort of, you're not gonna get those type of jobs. So yeah, again, it is risk tolerance as well. You do have those the unpaid marketing. Yeah. Like your builders and real estates and
body corps and all that.
Yes, body corporate, all that sort of stuff. But it's usually, it's usually a bit more complication to go with it. You got your pros and cons on both sides.
Yeah, nice. So you've adapted that service model, and the actual big reason why I really went gung-ho on the American service model is because I was working for a lot of builders, and I go, well, if I've got these real estate ambitions, right, to build my future wealth for my, for my family, and have that sort of lifestyle, I couldn't see myself being reliant long term on a builder to pay the bills. That's what it was for me. And for me, I go, well, if I'm reliant on a builder to pay me, God help me. Like that is just I couldn't see that being, and there are good builders out there, I will say that, but I couldn't see that being a viable way to build my personal wealth. And look at other investing and stuff like that. So is that why you sort of also was that a factor as well? Yeah,
no, of course. You really got to diversify. You need a mixture of jobs. Keep going. Another mentor I had told me there's like 10 legs to a tripod.
Yeah.
So if you kick one leg out, you're still standing. So you really got to have a mixture of work. So if one thing fails, you can't
have all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, that's right. It's not the end of the world. You keep moving forwards.
100%.
That's what it's all about.
No, I definitely hear you, and I really do like that. So that's something you got to think about. And like, I think people got to think they think they use these words, like these cop out words, like eventually, I will, or I'm going towards it. And it's just like, guys, there's nothing stopping you from your greatest version of yourself now. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, you got to do it. You got to say, like, if you go, I will buy more assets, or I will invest in this, I will do that. It's like, it's one thing saying it, but then putting a plan in place to actually do it. And that's what I think is super, super important. So yeah, Nick, before we wrap up, was there any closing statements that you want to mention at all in terms of, for Sparkies, or what should Sparkies do less of, or something like that?
Yeah, look, definitely, invest some time into, improving yourself. Investment wise, you are the best.
The best investment. I know what you're going to say. Yeah.
Spending money on yourself, that's the best investment. Educating yourself. That's the best way to go about it before doing anything. You can do business, you can do real estate and this and that and whatever. But if you haven't invested the time in yourself first, you're just going to fall over and make mistakes.
Do you need a lot of money to because people listening in, I think we really touched on it. I'll just do it real quick. Like, do you need a lot of money to invest? Like, you probably need to do the serviceability of the debt. You need some serviceability, but people that are discouraged of saving that big monster amount, like, is there other way? Is it after you get your first one, that's when it becomes easier? Do you have any light on that?
Look, once you get your first property, it does build your confidence up. And then obviously being around people, having people that have done it in a group, that also helps a lot with your confidence levels. It's all about confidence.
Being in the best practice group. So like, because you're in a real estate, you're in an electrician's best practice group, of course, Sparky Systems. You're in a real estate best practice group. So you're, oh my, I love that. So you are associating with killers, people that are actually doing it, not the pubs. That's the pub.
That's right.
I just want to really say that, bro. Like, say that to everyone listening in. You're surrounding yourself with people that are like-minded, are all on the same mission. It doesn't matter where you are in your journey of business or building your wealth, right? On and off the field. So is that right? You're surrounding yourself with seasoned pros instead of taking advice from people that are, maybe not as far along in their journey or not as open to getting advice. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Surround yourself with like-minded people. Preferably someone that's a lot sort of further ahead of where you are, and then just work towards that. There's plenty of online content as well. Information's so much easier to get now than what it was, 20 years ago. YouTube.
Oh, that's it.
There's lots of info out there. So yeah, definitely surround yourself with like-minded people. If you have something you want to do, definitely jump in with someone else, a group or Sparky Sales Systems.
I wasn't even going for a plug, but I agree with jumping into a group, because you might be exposed, and I say this all the time because I speak to hundreds of Sparkies. You might be exposed to, but my mate can only charge $100 an hour, so I'm coming in at 90, or I know how it works because all my mates are all in the same boat. But all your mates are in the same boat because that's all you know.
Yeah, that's right.
Look, on the flip side, there are people that have monster businesses. There are people that have monster property portfolios. There are people that have done that, and stop thinking they're different to you. They're not. They're humans. The government, politicians, they're humans at the end of the day. No one, people have got this reality that people are above other people. It's not. Everyone's human. There's no one's above anyone. It's just they've figured out something different to you.
No, that's exactly right. There's no right or wrong. Everyone is human. They're not superheroes or anything like that. So, there's a way of doing, whatever it is that you want to do. You just got to figure it out. It's 100%. All about, how that's, and the big one is the confidence.
Yeah, the confidence thing.
So constantly being around those like-minded people definitely helps to get you through barriers. And just accelerate yourself to new levels. Awesome.
Yeah. Well, we'll wrap up on that then, Nick. So Nick, thanks for coming on the pod today. It's been awesome seeing you, awesome seeing your progress, and look forward to seeing you absolutely keep sending it on the field.
Thanks, Spyro. I look forward to it as well. Thank you.
Nice.